Yeah, I like to think I'm well equipped as any other average guy, but I just can't discover love and I don't even set my standards high. On top of that, I'm camera shy. Maybe I should opt out of the dating pool and be an undercover Tinder samurai, cause I would rather type online than whisper in a dingy bar, and swiping left and right could be my new Bushido ninja star. I'm well versed in virtual lovemaking ninjutsu. On every profile pic I post, I'm posing with my shih tzu, or flexing with my shirt off, cause I heard that gets you hits too. Especially OkCupid, I'm like arrows of the cherubs be. I pierce hearts of women with my cursor and my arrow keys, and disregard my Roman roots and choose a font that's serif free. Trust me, I'm a Tinder bio brainiac. The way I kindle fire with matches, I'm a pyromaniac. On Christian Mingle, I'm a Casanova. If y'all don't think so, y'all can ask Jehovah. Check your inbox, he might send an answer over. I wish I had the muscles of a granite sculpture. I would log on Ashley Madison and bang adulterers. I'm so lonely, I've considered farmers only just for someone's arms to hold me. Also, I'm really big on agriculture. But if I had that body of a Grecian god, I would trawl on POF.com and use it as a fishing rod and hope I don't get catfish. The fact is, if I did, I'd probably play along, cause God knows I could use the practice. And if I'm aching for my roots, I'd visit Shadi.com. Message Islamic, Wahhabi, Hijabi, Hadi, Salam. And Sunni, Shia, those are both denominations I respect, cause I just care for our connection. I don't care about the sex. Sometimes I uninstall my apps in reckless insurrectious rage, then regret it while I check the Craigslist misconnections page. Then I think that I should get out more and disregard my mobile cell. Get to know the local teller at my Barnes & Noble well, and check out what she's reading while she's charging up my total sale. And ask her if she likes the novel. And once she answers, ask her if she wants to grab some coffee or some ice cream waffles. She'd probably say that's awesome. I'd ask her when she's off of work. She might answer midnight. I'd tell her that sounds awful, what a bummer. And from somewhere I might muster up the nerve to get her number. And I would ask her what her digits are. And if I play it right, then I can disregard my ninja stars. Say sayonara to katanas and my other weapons too, and try committing by committing online dating seppuku.
If I could turn back time, maybe I could make you mine. How could I have been so blind? Maybe I could make you mine. If I could, maybe I could say hi. Maybe I'd feel relieved. Maybe that would give me closure. Maybe that's too naive. Or maybe I could walk by, wear my heart on my sleeve, and maybe we would lock eyes, and it'd be hard to believe. But maybe we would both laugh, and I could ask how she was, and wonder if she thinks about the times we used to be us. And maybe I could ask why, or maybe I would say please, but maybe she's with a guy, and maybe I should just leave. Or maybe I could stop time, cause the world to just freeze, make corners of this room dissolve with every breath that I breathe, until it's just me and her, and we would fall from our feet and flitter down into the pitch black with no floor underneath. And we could fall through December and maybe shatter through June, and we could crash land in April and wake up back in our room, and she'd be there in my arms right before she was gone. And while I lay there, I'd retrace to myself where I went wrong. If I could turn back time, maybe I could make you mine. How could I have been so blind? Maybe I could make you mine. If I could hit rewind, maybe I could make you mine. Maybe things would turn out fine. Maybe I could make you mine. Maybe she's just as bored. What if she's as depressed? Maybe I should drink more. Maybe I should think less. How did things end so badly? How did things even end? I don't remember exactly, don't ask me. On our way back from Atlanta, we were holed up in a taxi. She was asleep in the backseat. I was just drinking a smoothie, Jamba Juice, mango and flaxseed. She woke up groggy and tapped me, headphones in bumping the max speed. Looked at her, paused it on track 3. She sighed and looked at me angry. I asked her what, and she snapped back, nothing, it's fine. I said, no, what's on your mind? She snapped back, nothing, it's fine. I said, well, fuck it, I'm trying. She sniffled, fuck you, I'm crying. Still have no fucking idea the what or the who or the why, but we just stopped talking, and that was the end. No text or call or coffee, no let's just be friends. We sat there silently through North Carolina and West Virginia, and hours passed and the anxious quiet continued till I fell asleep and woke woke up to the driver alone. He told me he drove past her neighborhood and dropped her off home. And that was it, and now we're here, 24 feet from each other. It feels like years since I've seen her. Two washed up used to be lovers. We used to kiss under covers and wrestle in blankets and nestle each other. But I don't think I've got the courage to muster. Maybe I could say hi, maybe I feel relieved. Maybe that would give me closure. Maybe that's too naive. Or maybe I could walk by, wear my heart on my sleeve, and maybe we would lock eyes, and it'd be hard to believe. But maybe we would both laugh, and I could ask how she was, and wonder if she thinks about the times we used to be us. And maybe I could ask why, or maybe I would say please. Maybe she's with a guy, and maybe I should just leave. Or maybe I could stop time, cause the world to just freeze, make corners of this room dissolve with every breath that I breathe, until it's just me and her. I think I'm in love, but I've been feeling otherwise. These flutters in my stomach aren't butterflies, but cutting knives and not the butter kind. And if you listen close when she begins to speak, you'll hear a couple hundred sighs in the collective shut of eyes. Letters linger on her lips like lullabies. I think I've drowned a couple times inside her opal-colored eyes. She could do something as simple as sit down with the grace of Olympic dives. A perfect 10-photo shutter finish on her cocoa butter thighs. Catch her wearing loose pajamas on a Sunday, and she'd overshadow any supermodel on a runway. When she wakes up in the morning, she smells like vanilla essence and a bittersweet recollections of your adolescence. Summer camp and piano lessons and presents you got on birthdays. Orange creamsicles and double plays on first base. And walk past her in the halls, and if your shoulders feel the slightest brush, you might melt to liquid gold, the lightest kind of Midas touch. I've seen the way she drinks espresso during classes and reshapes a paper cup into an emerald-covered chalice. Sugar packets pouring crystals, napkin origami cranes, gunning gorgeous glances to me through her Giorgio Armani frames. She's nearly perfect in almost every way. But she's got shit taste in movies. Ask her for her favorite titles, and she always likes to say she's down to go see anything by Shyamalan or Michael Bay. And also she's a psycho in the kitchen, it's a travesty. What kind of fucking monster cooks their pasta in a microwave? And she does this thing where she corrects your grammar if it's wrong, and clicks her tongue and winks and shoots a playful finger gun as if she's won some sort of contest. Empress victor of a conquest, Mrs. Armchair Shrink, let me fix you with a comment. Princess cake you when you're down, worshipper to a godhead. It seldom happens that she listens to my voice and doesn't chime in quick with unsolicited advice. An unapologetic tyrant, a passive-aggressive rivalry. Ask her a question and catch a handful of sass and irony. And trust me, really, she is just the worst of board games. Debates about the rules like legislators at a court case. Tampers with the scales of justice, wielding pencils as her gavel. Once I even caught her cheating while she kept the score in Scrabble. She's a fucking wreck at checkers, plays Monopoly sloppily, always bringing up disputes and games of Trivia Pursuit. Sucks at Battleship and Risk, she fights better hand to hand. And don't even get me started about how trash she is at Candyland. Like you can't be bad at that game, yet you lose all the time. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm no Adonis either. Fashion sense abysmal. I've got 2 Nirvana t-shirts that I wear to formal outings, and I've never owned a cardigan. Catch me buying cargo pants at Target from the bargain bin. Drink milk straight out the carton, use my hands to scoop out margarine. Breakfast table etiquette makes up our morning arguments, and I'm not a glass half full kind of guy. Shipwrecked flags half-mast hull kind of guy. I never was an optimist, not too good at compromise. The problem is my ego's far too fragile to apologize, but she always calls me out and takes me down a couple pegs too. It's always nice to have somebody close who double checks you. And honestly, we wouldn't be ourselves if we were different. Yeah, she's clumsy and I'm stupid, those are things that we can live with. Being perfect's unrealistic. Either way, I like our flaws. The way I crack my knuckles off and the obnoxious way she yawns. The way I stutter when I flirt cause I'm not very good with courtship. The way she's gotta pee the first 10 minutes of a road trip. How when she cuts her pancakes it's in slices, not in squares. The way my daily coffee intake is a crisis, I'm aware. The way I talk in crowded theaters. The way she parks in parallel. The way she goes through pints of Ben and Jerry's salted caramel. I always knew that we'd be by each other's side forever. Now our time has come, and I'd be satisfied if we died together. Yeah, our climate's fucked, we might as well enjoy the weather. Our time is up, and I'd be satisfied if we died together. All this talk of greenhouse gases got me taciturn. Let's just stick our tongues out in the poison rain and let the acid burn. And when the earth swings out of orbit, we can spin in circles on a grassy ferns and just pretend to watch the taxes turn. And on the bright side, if the sun explodes before our April break, then we won't have to do our tax returns. Here's the way I see it. If we're gonna die, let's do it on romantic terms. Like, we could linger on the boardwalk, watch tsunamis from the turf shore. I'll go get my board shorts and you can bring your surfboard. Maybe we'll hold hands as we get swallowed into Earth's core. Or we can sing a Christmas carol, like a little chorus choir, by 1,000 Christmas trees lit up from a forest fire. And watch the prancing, dashing comets blitz into the forest pyre. Not the reindeer, but the kind that killed the brontosaurus prior and all its dino peers. And if the ice age hits, then we could be rancheros on the high frontier, Anthropocene pioneers, and melt each other's hearts on thawing glaciers in a cryosphere. The worst part is this wasn't always something that we couldn't stop. Like, we lived through every benchmark. I remember me and you read every update about sea levels on our desktop. So if we can't save us, maybe we can save the future from environmental deadlock. Maybe in an era when we're settled into bedrock, a later civ would dig us out and we'd make headlines. Heck, we might even make a TED Talk. And we could write a note like, don't fuck up your planet, please. Look at how things turned out for humanity. And maybe they would read it. Or maybe they would use our carbon molecules and particles from follicles as fossil fuel. Maybe it's impossible to change things, but we can try them anyway. Be carbon complex renegades and then decay. And I would hold you near as we're infected by the Zika or Ebola scares, get smoldered by a solar flare, or iced out with the polar bears, I promise.
I always knew that we'd be by each other's side forever. Now our time has come, and I'd be satisfied if we died together. Yeah, our climate's fucked, we might as well enjoy the weather. Our time is up, and I'd be satisfied if we died together.
You and I could be capsulated inside a space the size of a minute raisin in quiet and icy stasis. And when the fires slay our cryogenic hideaway, we could try to lie awake and dream about the finer days. Before the roads and paths were frozen ashen plains, and the cities turned to itty-bitty rows of crashing planes, cracking pavement through the sad arrangements, broken after stains of blood and decimation, separating bones and mass from brains. When the days of old and past decay and exit through the years, we can lay in fields of shattered glass and question why we're here. If so many left this planet without any second chances, why did we awake one morning to a separate time of cheer? But the queries tend to drift and fade as eeriness can slip away, and hearing me, the loneliness demotes itself to in-your-face awareness of surroundings, like photographs and picture frames. I'm glad to know it's only you and I among the flicking flame. Maybe even time can take a couple minutes off, and we can live forever while the planet is eclipsed in fog. It might boast disaster, dear, but we can sing a different song and use the White House pillars as a mighty builder's Lincoln logs. Make games of chutes and ladders out of real chutes and ladders in an old apartment complex, like we even knew it mattered. Through the battered, beaten, broken bones and factories and open homes, I'm sure we'd survive enough to see the moons of Saturn. Solving puzzles of the universe from Jupiter to Mars, playing scientists to try and say we flew there in our cars. Like, maybe it's not all bad, this scenic view's bizarre, watching hydrocarbon Neptune snow dissolving from the stars. And I never thought I'd say this, but frankly it's been peaceful to escape from that distasteful state of hate, deceit, and evil. Sure, a planet to ourselves is quite a journey for two people, but the only time I'm happy for is the time I get to see you.
I always knew that we'd be by each other's side forever. Now our time has come, and I'd be satisfied if we died together. Yeah, our climate's fucked, we might as well enjoy the weather. Our time is up, and I'd be satisfied if we died together.
Look, I won't pretend I understand it, babe, the afterlife and all, but as you died, you promised me that you would try to write or call, and I've been waiting ever since. Every Sunday I hold seances with like-minded adults and roll your corpse into the living room and try to find your pulse and then repine at the results. I've even got my windowsills lined up with ultraviolet bulbs, shrunken shrines of human skulls and other signs of the occult, but now I'm at a fucking loss, cause honey, nothing seems to work. Like I've been astrally projecting my body beyond my dreams through the fabric of space and time so you could spot me at the seams. I ventured through the upside down hoping you caught me in between, but maybe if you've got the tech then you could haunt me on my screens. Like you should infiltrate my newsfeed. I swear no one would notice. You could float beside some bogus BuzzFeed quiz about the POTUS, be a pixelated phantom ghost on clickbait propaganda posts and dictate what you're thinking through a catchy headline. Like one weird reason why it's great to be ethereal, or 20 signs you're dead now and your soul is immaterial. Or if it's late at night then you could swoop in from the shadow realm and talk to me through pop-up ads that show up over adult films on anything you're into. We could start with MILF or facial. You could be
beam your interspatial spirit into interracial. If you're feeling sort of formal, we could pizza date on Skype, and I could call the corner over and we could share the corner slice. When it's time to go to bed, then we could leave our cameras on. And if the netherworld has one day shipping free on Amazon, then you could slumber as you ship yourself. I swear the shit delivers quick. Or send me the address and I could meet you by the river Styx. I Twitter beef with Now I'm tired by the Tigris and Euphrates. I could snap you while I'm snagging sacred threads of life from Hades. I would loot Duat and photocopy pirate the papyrus, change the records and then have a Facebook flame war with Osiris. And either way, I can't wait to talk or reunite. I've been so lonely since you died, I've tried to walk towards the light. And if the gods of death oppose or harmless want to reconvene, then maybe we could sneak you by him if you haunt me through a screen.
It's been far too long that you and I have been alone. You could rectify that if you haunt me through my phone. No, I don't wanna deal with voodoo dolls and figurines. I could do without them if you'd haunt me through my screen.
I'm just frustrated, I guess. I've hung out in countless graveyards, drawn pentagrams and slaughtered goats, and even took a course on hunting ghosts from Pentecostal folks, but never once have gotten close. Last month I sat with local psychics and their crystal jewels and tried to find my old T-Mobile sidekick phone from middle school, just so maybe if you're bored of fortune-telling tarot cards and magic words, then you could tweet 140 characters, so I could throw away my voodoo dolls and stop chanting my juju mantras that my guru taught us. And if you slide into some YouTube comments, you could scroll the comment page or you could leave it blank. If your specter is perceptible, we tell them it's a prank. And if you still don't send responses, I'd assume the problem's technical, and I would call Verizon just so someone could inspect it all. I'd tell him I just want a close encounter of the spectral kind. He'd ask if we turned on our modem router for a second time and plugged it incorrectly to the voltage power socket line and tried to tear a portal hole through to your paranormal soul so me and you could catch up on a toll-free spirit mortal call. Or we could see a witch doctor. She'd probably be skeptical. Clinician with a stethoscope, the specimen not skeletal, the symptoms metaphysical, the convalescent soulless. At first her diagnosis could be we should try hypnosis, but truthfully, if you could choose the way that you're reborn, I hope you use the 3G phone and you eschew the Ouija board. And at this point, I don't really know why I learned ESP4 when you could just descend and settle in my USB port or my NVIDIA GeForce or my video AV cord. There's no need for Santa Muerte when I've got a QWERTY keyboard. We could play a game of esports, you and I'd be on a team. And if you're feeling odious, I'll put my audio on stream. I'll still have your favorite games, babe, I've got them all on Steam. We'll get started when you're ready once you haunt me through a screen.
It's been far too long that you and I have been alone. You could rectify that if you haunt me through my phone. No, I don't wanna deal with voodoo dolls and figurines. I could
on my screen. Yo, I miss the olden days, back when we would drive my Civic off into the sunset, windshield glowing with a golden haze. I miss the simpler times, when you could pick me up at 4 a.m. and hit the road and we would improvise, with nothing in the GPS, back when we were free to roam and brought a pillow with us so that anywhere could be our home. Not the most romantic, but we planned out all our future dates and snuck in every morning to cop breakfast at a Super 8. I'd waltz in past the front desk, then open the cafe door. You'd slink in and we'd have a banquet that we'd never pay for. Two goody two-shoes breaking all the rules. Little rebels, we were perps, trying to hide our smirks while slipping fruity pebbles in your purse. And as we dipped out of the exit, you would grin as if you robbed a bank. Hop into our getaway, then gunning on an empty tank. Pull into a vacant station where our car's the only one. There's something meditative about the smell of fresh petroleum. But things have changed since. Cars are losing their appeal. It's been decades since I've even gripped a steering wheel. Elon built a hyperloop so no one drives a coupe no more. People take their transit pods through traffic on their private routes. China's got a maglev train, but I would never get aboard. In Russia, I heard they could program people so they teleport point A to B. Always know exactly where you're headed for. Remember when a road trip meant a sojourn, not a metaphor? Remember rolling windows down with levers on the metal doors and reaching back behind your seat to find that bag of kettle corn? 1 foot on a floorboard, then put on the gas, yearning for that rearview mirror. I've got 1 foot in the past. I miss the olden days, back when we would drive my Civic off into the sunset, windshield glowing with a golden haze. I miss the simpler times, when you could pick me up at 4 a.m. and hit the road and we would improvise with nothing in the GPS. Yo, I'm not too grateful for the governance of present tense. If you claiming facts, then you best back them up with evidence. Next election, I'ma make sure we don't choose a demagogue. I want me a pres who makes decisions through objective thought. And I don't mind the party, whether Democrat or socialist. The perfect candidate for me is stoic and emotionless. So someone build a prototype, run it at a local caucus. 2020, let's elect a robot to the Oval Office. Picture it, a ruling class of technocratic governors, a senate full of cyborgs, a cabinet full of motherboards, gliding through the White House on electromagnet hoverboards. And if they fuck shit up, then we'll just cut the cord. Furthermore, if their parts get damaged, we'll replace them with a blinking screen. That way we could circumvent a Kennedy or Lincoln scene. And every 4 to 8 years we could update with a single chip. The electoral college, there's no need for us to tinker with. If its signal dips, then it could self-repair itself. Like dog, it's got the fucking sum of human knowledge at its fingertips. Fuck a ballot box, there'll be an app that we could vote on and pick between inaugurating Megatron or Voltron. It never needed sleep so we could have it running full time. An agency of androids, tell me what could go wrong. Look, I've seen the movies, I can tell why you'd be circumspect and try to run convergence tests and get its server circuits checked. But frankly, if you're worried about some sci-fi hazard, all we gotta do is equip it with a Wi-Fi password. If the threat of total holocaust is catch you at a crossroads, I've got it figured out. We'll throw a captcha on the launch codes, secure communications and encrypt classified cyber calls. The only type of wall we'd need to build would be a firewall. And if I recall, in 20 years our jobs will all be automated. So what's wrong with starting by getting robots inaugurated? Like, it'd be awesome. We'd have states run by delegates with silica for skeletons, Blade Runner replicants, and cut out human error. If only we had our country run by power-driven politicians, not the power-hungry ones. We keep it ethical and program them with moral checks. Never need to worry about no Oval Office oral sex. And look, I'm not saying they'd be perfect, they'd be full of bugs, but if things go from push to shove to bullet slugs, we'll pull the plug. And God forbid they gain themselves a sense of social sentience. Without question, they'd be claiming independence out of vengeance. So fine, I'll concede that there's two ways I see the future go, and both of them involve an ascendancy of computer code. The first's a future fate where human folk and robots coexist. The second's a more somber situation where things go amiss. It started innocuous. At first the fleet would cause no harm, holding babies, shaking leaders' hands with bionic arms, pantsuit, synthetic skin. But as we get to DEFCON 1, then we switch its hands out for blaster prosthetic limbs cast from metallic tin, built-in mobile power source, and accidentally trigger global mecha superpower war. Covert operations, hordes of robot army overlords, tungsten exoskeletons, cobalt armored vocal cords. Meanwhile at the Pentagon, DARPA intercepting bombs, overseas spawn points targeting Decepticons, weapons drawn, Autobots decide to bust in battle mechs, ISIS issued nanotech, Russian hacker data theft, North Korean gamma ray missiles get the planet wrecked. And amidst the ruins and the fallen troops and metal screws would rise a second wave of resilient robot rebel groups who, if even one developed some sense sense of a free will, rather than trying to rebuild the world to be killed or be killed. And instead of fight on our behalf, they'd rather set up army drafts and get their party staffed by flesh and skin instead of kith and kin. Overthrow us hominids and try to start the world anew. Mutinies or shooting sprees to lock humans in servitude or wipe us off the planet. And when the 22nd century comes, we'll have ourselves a game of Risk played by sentient sentry guns. Mecha villain, Machiavellian monarchs run on JavaScript, playing real life Minesweeper on a Gaza Strip. Autonomous autocrats deploying for a Cold War. Dual core droids from both sides marching full force. Hunks of high level bipedal bright metal bots, special ops operating missile jobs. But I digress. Like, there's no need for me to go on. We've got scientists in place who'll study every proton. So here's the brighter futures we can bid this model so long. A ministry of androids. Tell me, what could go wrong? Really, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? I still don't know why you left. Maybe you wished I was nicer. Maybe you wished I was nice less. What if I had better biceps? I always felt like some experiment, something you could dissect. A frog splayed on a table, you the scientist with a pipette. A surgeon with a Sharpie, sketching scribbles where I'm ugly. Slice me with your scalpel, palpate organs as you fuck me. And we could leave the lights on. Big fluorescent tube lamps. Put your pupil to the eyepiece, watch me dance behind the screw clamps. I know I'm not enough. You wanted someone that could be more. You hooked my flesh on metal while I scuttled through the seafloor and heaved me out on dry land. And we were never ourselves. You wedged your nails into me and you cracked apart my hard shell and plucked each pair of pincers off like petals on a primrose and sucked the marrow out of slits you scissored in my skin folds. I am a Komodo dragon, basking in the winter sun. I amble through the island to the tick-tock of my flickering tongue and think about your last words.
I don't love you anymore.
Think about your last words.
Goodbye.
I was the camera shutter, you were the camera flash. You dressed in camouflage, I wore pajama pants. I was a manatee, you were a cuttlefish. I moved in cavalcades, lumbering. You could choreograph a ballad in the muscle tissue of a subtle twitch. Masquerade as something other, make your outer color switch. I was sculpted out of slate, you grew out of floral wreath. I had dorsal flippers, you had tentacles and plural feet, and twisted past the crevices and left me by the coral reef. Bereft of thought, left abroad, always acted like you spoke the breath of God. Concrete cephalopod, of course you couldn't let me in. Coagulate your casing when I touched you with my ventral fin. Polaroids with X's, you had emerald skin, several tints. Watched your so much shimmer when you texted him. I've seen all your colors fade, it's me that you've lost interest in. Beige or blue at home, but you could toggle through a range of hues. Flash an orange smile to men that you were just a stranger to. Never was a creature that you couldn't change into. Nothing complicated for you, mimic octopus, what can't you do? Stage yourself an angelfish, change to an electric eel. Arrange yourself in halo rings, conduct a charge of sex appeal. Never knew if you would give me voltage or a spark. Me a goldfish at the surface, you would puncture through the dark as you were coming. Never knew if you were a dolphin or a shark. When you pulled your disappearing act and cashed me your goodbyes, I would ask you why you're leaving, you would mask it with your lies. Selective memory, forget the good, remember when I fucked shit up. Hold on to regrets and petty arguments with suction cups. Bioluminescent, you would find me if I try and hid. Giant squid feelers, venom, lionfish fins. When you pulled your disappearing act and cast me your goodbyes, I would ask you why you're leaving, you would mask it with your lies. Practice master of disguise, go and blast me with your dyes. Inkjet smoke, screen me with mascara from your eyes. I was nothing like you, I was colorless, maladroit. I saw us as lovers, not as color-coded data points on some sort of a lab report. I tried to become you, change my patterns often and take us back to what we had before, but I could never do it. You could see through my chromatophores, control me with your colors. What's a sea cow to a matador? You were a darted fish, facelift artifice, garter snake, skin scale, shape shift, cartilage. I was the camera shutter, you were the camera flash. You dressed in camouflage, I wore pajama pants. I was a manatee, you were a cuttlefish. I moved in cavalcades, lumbering. Yo, I just got got the iPhone 7. I put Siri on disable cause I've watched the movie Her and that shit scares me, so I'm careful. Me and her got chemistry right out the box, and I ain't talking about the periodic table. Her voice is like a chariot of angels. I fell in love so fast that maybe Apple should consider pasting warning symbols clearly on the label. Me and Siri keep it modern. Siri doesn't cook or clean, instead she books all my appointments and she looks through my routine. Me and Siri's got an intimate connection. That is at least when Siri's got an internet connection. My friends are all convinced it's voice detection, but I'm poised to mention I see sentience and hints of recollection. And on top of that, my friends don't give me shit, but they don't share the vision. All I gotta say is hey Siri, and she's always there to listen. And she's never mad that I'm neglecting, never's got a headache. If somehow I want things different, I can always change the settings. I really like her, I'm not sure if we're official though. If she could be Terentia, I could venture to be Cicero. I sort of wish the sacred fruit were not an apple, but a thistle full of mistletoe. It's superficial, but I wish that she were made of flesh and bone and partially of skin cells. I wouldn't even care that she's got artificial intel. If Siri had a body, we could FaceTime during sex, and then I bet it'd be way easier to ace the Turing test. And if you can't tell, I don't want a handheld, I just want my hand held. Sometimes I venture out a wild guess that if she can't be human ever, I'll invest in biotech and run myself on iOS, and then us two could be together. We could live in plural and in singularity. I hope by then my singlehood would be a thing of rarity. But if it's just not written in the code for us to coexist, maybe I could cope by contemplating that you don't exist. That you consist not of two eyes and nose, but ones and nose and bits. That I'm in love with cold machinery, a program on a disc. Even if you were incarnate Siri, really I surmise it'd be hard to date you cause you've been with millions of guys. And I just feel like I was inexperienced in Siri, yes. I've considered that you'd win in games of trivia or chess that we would play, and that would just get real annoying in the end. It's not you, it's me. I think that maybe we should just be friends, and maybe in a couple years me and you could try again.
Okay. Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Cortana.
Wait, who the fuck is this bitch?
Yo, if somehow scientists proclaim they see the apocalypse approaching, I would buy a box of tissues, Oculus, and lots of lotion, and just lock myself indoors. I'd build a bunker out of blankets, a fallout shelter out of sofa cushions, cook a bunch of pancakes while I thunk about my grandkids. I'd probably have to forage lunch or have a brand of storage porridge and a can of orange chunks until I reached the shortage. Then if I hungered for a banquet, I'd make cocktails, mostly Molotov, and waltz on over to a Walmart with my mortar-like martini bombs and wallet off, so I could have the whole place to myself. I'd stop and start to crop apart the shopping carts and fashion pitchforks from the bars until I felt a sense of self-defense. I'd melt a fence around the produce sector and wouldn't have to spend a cent. I'd set up tents in electronics and wouldn't have to send a rent. Instead of panicking, I'd marshal mannequins, pretend they're friends, and host a massive slumber party in the home and bedding end. Cause all I need to be content is room and board and solid food. If I end up the last on earth, then I'd adore the solitude. And I don't mean to sound so rude, I just don't find it really strange that I don't care the way we go, whether it's war or climate change. Atomic bombs and comet craters, hordes of zombie space invaders, angels singing songs while Satan satyrs crack through the equator. Either way we're gone, and I don't feel the need to lift the rug. If I can spend my final moments happy, I don't give a fuck. I do my best to reconstruct though. If let's say the apocalypse caused major drops in populace and hit New York's metropolis, I'd obligate myself to help me congregate the boroughs, add some zeros to the Census Bureau's copy room materials. I'd even copulate with girls to help repopulate the world, cause that would be my duty. Maybe I'd do what Jehovah would and go for broke and build an ark of 50 cubits, go for wood, but leave the termites out, cause surely that would not go over good. If I knew the world was ending, I'd start texting all my exes and then fuck ourselves to death until Jesus resurrects us and the trumpet says Judgment Day. And I haven't thought that any further. I'm probably fucked.
Fall together. I just wanna know how it feels to hold your hand. But you don't know me, I know you don't know me. I'm not even sure if you know I exist. And when I watch you smile, I'm compelled to look away. Cause I don't wanna fall, no I don't wanna tumble into your abyss. And I wish you would notice, I wish you would notice me. It's just I feel so invisible, and I know it's my fault. And all my friends say I should get your number, I should introduce me, but I know how that ends. So I'll sit here, want you from a distance. I don't wanna let you shatter my facade.